Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Benchwarmers. I am Benjamin, and we are coming at you live on a Tuesday because the club is always coming up on a Tuesday. Jam 1620, what's going on, brother? Always good to see you. And Elk Dot in the house, baby, with the triple threat 1996 Atlanta Braves Olympics trio. Well done, brother. David Kearns, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm feeling a little rough myself on account of the getting back from Utah early ass yesterday morning and just straight up not sleeping. But I hope you're doing better. We will chat later, of course. But yeah, dude, Elk Dot, dude, that was a clutch post, brother. If you guys haven't seen it, check out Elk Dot's Instagram post. I think it was from yesterday. Dude with some big come ups on that. Flashfire in the house. What's going on, man? Actually, I'm glad you came in when you did, just because the fact that I didn't get any jerseys this week, at least in the mail. I bought a bunch, and there's one in particular that I locked down and paid for like immediately on Saturday. Figment, what's going on, dude? Dude, Elk, that I can imagine that one took you a good stretch, and hopefully it didn't set you back too bad financially. Because you got a wedding to pay for, bro. You got a wedding to pay for. Be well 17. What's going on, dude? Anyway, I'm not going to give any clues as far as which jersey I scooped up because I'm going to wait till it comes in the mail, and it should actually be here later this week. So I'll have it ready for next Monday. Um, can you get some hats for your birthday? Well, the short answer is no. I mean, unless you buy them yourself, of course, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but yesterday was my birthday. I didn't get any free hats. Come on. You think I am just gonna be like dishing out hats like John Stockton over here on birthdays? Come on. I didn't even get one. Fuck. And I'm actually dead serious about that. Yesterday was my birthday. I'm 41 goddamn years old. And I feel it, man. I fucking feel it. No, when's your birthday, bro? Happy birthday. Thursday. All right, dude. Happy early birthday. If you're in the chat for Flip the Script on Thursday, because yeah, we pushing everything a little bit later. I will be sure to give you a birthday shout out on that day as well. Thugnificent, I appreciate you, man. CXM, what up, dude? And I imagine you're stoked on account of the Jose Altuve re-signing or renegotiation of the deal, etc. 214 Fitteds, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Um Yeah, David Kern saying I got a hat cannon in my basement. Just gonna start just blasting fools with hats left and right. Dude, 38, man. I miss turning that age on account of the fact that that was the last time I can recall waking up on a birthday and just not feeling like absolute pain in certain parts of my body. Typically it's the knees, but lately it's been the neck. So if you see me like rubbing my neck like crazy, that's why. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. So, but JM1620, I appreciate you, brother. Carl Egrew, what's going on? That's a new name, haven't seen. Anyway, so first thing I want to start with, yeah. So I didn't get any jerseys. I bought some jerseys, but Saturday was like the big one. Um, David Kearns actually knows exactly which jersey it is because I was talking with him about it, like kind of leading into it. So not often do I have to do or like wait for an auction to end. Typically, all the jerseys I've been buying for the last couple of years, like the vast majority, and we're talking like 97, 98%, are like buy it now, make me an offer, whatever, easy business, easy transaction, etc. But this one was the first time in like 8 months where I had to go to an auction. So I'm just like sitting on this for like 5 days, just waiting and waiting, waiting. And the dude listed it for 99 cents. So, um, to emphasize the rarity of this, of course, I'm a veteran in the game and in the auction game. So of course I waited till like the last 3 seconds to throw my bid in. At the point in time when the auction got down to about 10 seconds left, it was still at like $62. And then within a period of like 5 seconds, it jumped up from like 69 to 72. So at the 2 second mark, I threw my bid in and I threw it in for $327 because it's like, yep, that's the highest I'm going with this. Um, because back in 2020, a buddy of mine in Portland was selling this particular jersey for $140. And I didn't think anybody else knew necessarily about his site. And CXM, I'll get back to that in a sec. Oh, Chaparral. Yeah, I'll answer that question in a sec. Sorry. So, so my buddy was selling this particular jersey for $140 back in 2020, and I didn't think anybody like noticed it, whatever. And then like a couple months go by, and then somebody buys it, and it's just like, oh my god, why did I fucking drag my feet on this? So anyway, so I throw in my bid for $327, and I noticed that the price goes to like $162, and then just kind of goes to like the waiting wheel because it was refreshing and stuff. And so I had the highest bid in, and it finished out at $162. So it's like, all right, 4 years later, I'm only paying 22 to more dollars than what I would have paid back in 2020 for this jersey. So awesome. But yeah, I'll show it off on this next Monday because I should have it by then. I'm super, super fired up about it. Insanely rare one. Um, Yes, I got you, brother. All right, on to the comments here. So I feel like I missed a few. So Chaparral 2K asked, would I ship any of my champion jerseys up north? Are you talking by up north? You mean to Canada? Yeah, I could figure something out with that. That's super easy. And then CXM says, Ben, I'm sorry, I could hear you. Did you say update on that special? I couldn't. Um, I just didn't mention what it is because I want to show it off. I want it to be like a big surprise for you guys. So that's the only reason why I didn't mention it. But no, I'm super fired up. It's like it was like a top 10. To answer Elk Doc, do I still have any Grail jerseys? This was a top 10 Grail jersey, hands down. And I still have like 9 other ones I'm still after. The biggest one being the Elgin Baylor NBA 50, the yellow jersey specifically. I haven't seen one of those since 1997, and that is the only like gold label NBA gold NBA logo NBA 50 jersey I still have left to acquire. And the fact that I haven't seen one since 97, it's a bit disconcerting and a bit worrisome for me. I know at some point I'm probably gonna track one down. I know they didn't make a ton of them, so Lord knows when I finally find one how much I'm gonna pay for it, but sky's the limit on that. I usually just do it. Chapel says also left my ass at the 10-second left strategy for auctions. Learned that trick to Forza's auctions house. And Jam1620 commented on it as well. I don't know what Forza's auction house is. I'll be dead honest. Apparently, I need to do some research after the show and figure out what this is. But I'm curious now. I'm curious and a little fearful, but a little excited at the same time. But one thing that did come in the mail for me before this show, it actually showed up yesterday. Um, I talked about a hat that I bought from another company. I got it for 13 bucks. Super excited about it. If you guys saw it on my Instagram account or my Twitter account, I definitely showed it off. But it is a trucker hat, but it is the NBA on NBC hat, trucker style hat. So a lot of people are chiming in the comment that they can hear like the theme song going in their head like as soon as they saw it. And it's just like, yes, that is exactly why I fucking bought it. I don't wear trucker hats that often, but it's just like, boom, had to do it, had to get it. And for 13 bucks, and it was like $6 for shipping, so like $20 total. And based on how big of an NBA fan I obviously am with all the goddamn jerseys I have, had to have it, man. Elk Dot asked, do I like the vintage NBA hats? Yes, I do. I just my only issue is, and I don't wear them often, but I have a bunch of them, is I can't wear them with a jersey. I just feel like, head to toe, that's just a little too much going on there. And that's why, when we drop the cool fashion hats, it's like, okay, I can go jersey and hat, MLB hat, NBA jersey. Obviously, the colors are the same. And so I don't feel like I'm pressing too much of one particular sport at one possible time. So that's why I've always done it that way. So at least with this, it's generic enough where it's just a straight NBA or slash NBA and NBC hat. So I can pretty much wear it with anyone that I want. So pretty excited about that. And best of AZ, appreciate the birthday wishes, man. I didn't mention you earlier, and I truly appreciate that, man. Best of AC says, "My only trucker hat says tattooed low life." Goddamn right. I'm actually kinda jealous of that because I would love that hat. The only other trucker that I have is the one that says after sex hat, which the that one I got for $10 at Spencer's Gift in Bakersfield, California, and I wanna say that was like a decade and a half ago. I rarely wear it, but it was just too damn goofy to pass up on, so, yes. Um, and yeah, David, massive, massive nostalgic piece. So I love that. First topic I want to discuss is I'll go really quickly through this because it has to do with like what happened this morning. If you guys didn't see in regard to the mayor of Las Vegas talking about how the A's would be better off staying in Oakland. Oh my God, that was great. And then, of course, she had the balls to backtrack the entire thing. And this goes back to where, the A's obviously have money that was given to them by the state of Nevada legislature for a specific spot. That is the Tropicana spot, which actually is technically Paradise, Nevada, not Las Vegas. I know it's the Las Vegas Strip, etc. So her as the mayor has no jurisdiction over that specific area. But anyway, but for her to say that and then completely walk it back later really makes the question. It's like, okay, who gave her a call and told her to like retract that statement essentially? So it's in print, it's in the air, too bad. Absolutely love it. Like everything just keeps getting worse and worse for John Fisher, Dave Caval, and the A's organization. But hey, great thing for us A's fan. So anyway, um, Chaparral says, not gonna lie, I need the old Goodyear tires hat that IndyCar, NASCAR drivers used to wear in the 80s and 90s. Dude, that would be sick. Not gonna lie. And then CXM says, Ben's got me out of my seat for one thing. Also, Ben, you know what I'm gonna tell you right now. What the fuck is the oh my god, yes! I knew I forgot something. I'm sorry. Going back to the Royal Rumble, which we talked about this last Thursday. Joaquin 77, Logan Herrera. What's going on, guys? Oh, he's totally Manfred that called the mayor. No doubt there. Um, the entire saga of Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble and then giving his spot to The Rock. What the fuck kind of storyline telling is this? This is terrible. Um, but I mean, also goes back to the question I kind of proposed, or at least the theory I had, where it's like, I think CM Punk was supposed to win the Royal Rumble, but because he tore his tricep, they had to call an audible on the fly, and that's how Cody Rhodes won. And so, of course, script writers, storytellers, and the big wigs of WWE probably interjected this entire fiasco with The Rock and stuff like that. Like, I know The Rock and Roman Reigns have been chatting and, kind of dueling, squaring off, and the whole head of the table thing for, about a month or so. But this just makes this whole thing just even worse. And I know a lot of people are talking about going back to like Daniel Bryan going into WrestleMania 30 and the Yes movement and stuff like that. And there's going to be some kind of buildup going on that with like Cody Rhodes. To which case I say, okay, whatever. Like, I don't particularly care just because I feel like the impact that Daniel Bryan had, especially as a pure technical wrestler, not to mention the fan support that he had behind him, was just so much greater than what Cody Rhodes is going to get. And this is no offense to Cody Rhodes. Like, I think he's a good guy. I just still am in that mentality of it's still weird that WWE let you loose. Then you go hit the indie circuit, make a big ass name for yourself, a bigger name for yourself, I should say. Team up with the Young Bucks, team up with the Bullet Club, create AEW, do that thing for a couple years, and then bail, jump ship, go back to WWE, and you're basically back in the same position you were previously before WWE kind of let you go. So it's a weird thing that's kind of going on with that. And Chaparral says, yeah, modern wrestling is so weird, man, in terms of loyalties. 100%. So I don't know. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of AEW just because at least starting from the ground up and just kind of sticking with it. To which case somebody had announced on Twitter, I think earlier this morning, that as of now, AEW has actually lasted longer than Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which is crazy because I thought that thing went on for decades. But not the case. So Chaparral then says Las Vegas doesn't want the A's and barely cares for the Raiders. It's really Golden Knights or nothing in terms of Las Vegas sports interest. 100%. And the reason for that is because the Golden Knights are a homegrown team. They came in as an expansion team, so everybody could put their full support because The Vegas Knights are theirs. Raiders are a cherry picked team that came from Oakland, which of course played in LA and then Oakland previously, blah, blah, blah. And now you have a similar situation with the A's, and it's just like they're not going to get any support from the locals. However, if you bring in an expansion team, which I feel like they should, and I'm in 100% support of that, the people will support that particular team. So, anyway, I know I'm jumping back and forth between topics here. Flashfire says AEW has definitely lasted longer than South. um, that WWE had done in like the last 5 years, actually a little bit longer than that, was Southpaw Regional Wrestling. And I missed that. And they were teasing a season 3, and that was at the point in time when AEW kind of came around. But the bad part was a lot of people that were doing the Southpaw Regional Wrestling videos and stuff, they're all gone. I mean, John Cena in some capacity is still around, whatever, but Fandango's gone. Tyler Breeze is kind of doing his thing. I know. I lagged because I saw the message pop up, but I still quote Southpaw Regional Wrestling with my wife on a regular basis. Like that was such a smart thing for them to do, and the fact that WWE Creative had like no control over it whatsoever. It was just a bunch of wrestlers doing a funny thing, and it was great. I really wish they could have continued with that. So anyway, 100%, it's still on YouTube. Like I still watch it like every couple months or so. CXM says, Ben, even though my team didn't make it, this hat's gonna make my day once it comes in. Can't wait for y'all to make more of that team next season. Oh, we will, baby. And we still have like another one that's coming. Like this hasn't shown up yet, and I don't know why it hasn't shown up yet. Chaparral says Southpaw Regional Wrestling is still funny, even as distant wrestling fan. Yeah, dude, it is. It was great. Um, Kudos to everybody involved with the creation and process of that. So anyway, moving on to everything else. Hopefully his photo shows up. What the hell's going on here? Oh, you got to be kidding me. Let's try it again. Nope, I'm gonna have to just restart this whole thing. Sorry, hold on one sec. Oh, now it popped up. God damn it. Fuck. Ugh. There we go. Oh my god. Everything is just falling apart last night. Lorray right now. Yeah, Southside Steven C right in the house. Oh, sure. I miss wrestling talk. You did. What the fuck, man? Hold on one sec. Nah, Steven, we were just talking about like the whole Cody Rhodes Rock Swerve and then Southpaw Regional Wrestling. So yeah. No, 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 no. I didn't have to restart the show. I had to restart the photo file because for whatever reason it wasn't popping up. So there's my mom and me. We went to the Utah Jazz Milwaukee Bucks game on Sunday, and I only bring this up because it's the first sporting event I've gone to in a bit. Um, I'm not even the one that brought the topic up. Like the chat brought the topic up, which isn't crazy. But anyway, first time my mom and I went to an NBA game together since 2001. We used to go to the Blazer Indiana Pacer games up in Portland for like consecutive years. Because that was always like my birthday present, Christmas present, whatever. So this is like the first time I'd ever actually been able to take my mom to a game. So thank you, Utah Jazz, for being in town. But most notably, what the fuck, Milwaukee? Like you had that goddamn game in your hands. The Bucks had a fucking 17-point lead in this game. And then the Jazz, little by little, chipped away at it. Damian Lillard had like hands down the worst game of his career. 12 points. I think he had like 4 assists, 5 fouls. The man almost fouled out of the game and just could not hit for shit. Didn't even hit a three-pointer, I don't think. Oh, dude, it was crazy. And the Jazz won by 14 points. So everybody in Utah, of course, was just like super stoked. I of course went wearing Jazz gear because I wanted to kind of blend in. But deep down, I wanted the Bucks to win on account of the fact that that was one of my picks for Ben's bets this last week. So, but dude, Doc Rivers leading that team. Oh my God, what a huge fucking mistake that was. Like, I don't care how much the players hated Adrian Griffin. The man got you to a 30-11 start of the season. And then since Doc Rivers has come in, it's just been L. I think what, one win, or if they even won a game. I'm pretty sure they haven't won a game. I thought maybe one, if anything, but it's just like it's insane how much and how bad they are performing under Doc Rivers. Logan Herrera says the doc is in, and holy shit, someone needs to take the license away. 100%. And then put the Bucks on the hook for 4 coaches within like a year time frame. Oh, that's right. Suns Bucks tonight. That should have been one of my picks for this week because I would put money on the Suns, just based on the way things are going in Milwaukee. But I got a different game in mind, which actually tipped off like 10 minutes ago. So we'll talk about that here in a sec. Um, Oh, Southside saying talking like a box score looker, not a game watcher. Dude, yeah, because I was on vacation with my family. Sorry, I was busy with that. My God. Sass mouth over here. But anyway, this tripped me up when I saw this lot yesterday. If I'm gonna screw this guy's name, but I'm sorry. But for the New York Knicks, Ryan Arcidiacono. I think it's Arcidiacono. First player in NBA history to play 20 consecutive games without scoring a point. That is incredible. I don't know how the hell you do that. I mean, this goes back to like the joke meme about Tony Snell playing 28 minutes and just getting straight zeros on the board. Um, but but hey, I mean, as long as you're producing in other fields other than putting points on the board, like if you're getting assists, you're getting rebounds, some blocks, some steals, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're not scoring as long as your team is winning. Because at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport. It's not individual accomplishments, etc. Flashfire says, I'm surprised Andres Biedrins didn't do that. I am as well, because he definitely strikes me as a guy who would definitely pull that off. And then Logan Herrera is also saying that's a Dennis Rodman type of stat line. Yes, it is. I remember, yeah, Dennis Rodman a couple of games getting at least like maybe like 2 or 4 points, but then just ripping down like 19 to 26 boards. Like that was the man's job. His job was not to score. It was get those boards, move the rock to the point guard, and then set everything else up. Most of Dennis Rodman's points, especially during the Chicago years, were like coming from the free throw line. So, um, I mean, I will say Dennis Rodman was a more prolific scorer during his time with San Antonio and Detroit. And it's not to say that he didn't score points with the Bulls. Like, obviously, the man's a power forward, so he's going to get himself in there and be close to the basket so he can score, throw some dunks down, get some layups, whatever. But Chaparral says Ryan A, the fourth line grinder of the Knicks, 100%. And the Knicks have been hot, which actually bothers me. I know Elk Dot, you're super stoked about it because you're a big Knicks fan, but I'm a Pacers fan. And the fact that the Pacers lost that game against the Knicks the other night, and the Knicks are what, like 17-2 in their last 19 games or something like that, only being bested by the Cleveland Cavaliers, which are like 15-1 in their last 16 games. That's crazy. It's crazy basketball going on here. Um, but to which case, here's the standings, and then obviously because the Bucks have just been shit in the bed lately, the Cavaliers have been on the up and up. So currently tied right now for the second and third spot. Cavaliers and the Bucks. Celtics, of course, still hang on to number 1. Knicks jumping up to 4th. Sixers falling down to 5th, which is like I'm okay with that. Pacers need to like figure it out if they want to go on a winning streak or not, and then a losing streak. Like every couple games or so, they keep swapping it out because they're sitting in the 6 hole. Magic 7, Heat 8, which is like incredible to see them fall apart the way that they are. And then Bulls and Hawks kind of round out the top 10 there. Um, but yeah, the Raptors are not last place. I mean, when you got the Detroit Pistons just playing epically bad basketball this year, you're not going to be in last place. You got high hopes on that one. So hang out for a good draft pick. But things have shooken up a bit in the West. The Thunder, God damn it. The Oklahoma City Zombie Sonics, currently sitting in the 1 seed tie with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Clippers jumping up to 3 spot. They just got hot all of a sudden, forcing the Knicks down to the 4 spot, or the Nuggets down to the 4 spot. I said Knicks, I meant Nuggets. Kings still hanging on the 5th. The Suns kind of still on the up and up. 7-3 in their last 10, which is awesome. And Pelicans, Mavericks right at the 7 and 8 spot. Lakers, get out of the top 10. Please do not make the postseason. You know, I don't want them to make the play-in game for God's sake. And then the Jazz sitting in the 10 spot. So, because the Jazz, despite the fact that they are, you know, quote unquote, a bad team, they have some solid players. And they squeak out big wins against like the top teams in the NBA and then just have these like abysmal showings against like the worst teams. Like it makes absolutely no sense. But the Jazz are still in a rebuild, so it's like it kind of makes sense for the position that they're in. And then yeah, the Mavs just kind of sitting in the 8th spot makes absolutely no sense. My camera's going crazy right now, and I have no idea why. But anyway, moving on. I'll throw some soccer in here really quick because these were the games from the last couple days. Everton Tottenham with the 2-2 draw. Didn't see that one coming. I would have put hard money on Tottenham, and thank God I didn't. Um, Brighton beating the piss out of Crystal Palace. No real surprise there. Newcastle with the draw against Luton Town, to which case Luton Town had this game like pretty much sealed up 3-1 by the time the 60th minute rolled by. And then, sorry, 3-2 by the time the 60th minute rolled by. No, 63rd minute. So it was 4-2. Sorry, my bad. I got my numbers all screwed up here. 4-2 in the 63rd minute, and then all of a sudden, Newcastle put up 2 on the board within a 6-minute span from the 67th to the 73rd minute. God damn it, Luton Town. I was pulling for you. Aston Villa, ass whooping. Absolute ass whooping on Sheffield United. No surprise there. Oh, this game. I caught the end of it. And it was at the point when Wolverhampton was up 2-1. And yeah, Chelsea scored another goal from Thiago Silva, but I cannot believe Wolverhampton just took down Chelsea. Like this is hell. I am in hell. It gets worse. Arsenal taking down Liverpool. Good for them. Screw it. And then Man City, of course, putting the hurt on Brentford. No real surprise there. So the top 10 standings take a shift. Liverpool won. Man City, Arsenal still with the tie in the 2-3, but of course, goal differential affects that there. Aston Villa back in the 4 spot because they got the got the win. Sorry, so they got 3 points, whereas Tottenham only got 1 point for their draw. Man United, West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, and then Wolverhampton jumps Chelsea for the 10 spot. Like, what the fuck, man? Chelsea at 11, Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Luton Town, Everton, Burnley, and Sheffield United. What the F is going on? Ugh. Dude, yeah, Steven's saying that the fans were cheering for the which case I said the receipt for Chelsea is still hands down the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Um, Miss that guy. And the fact that he doesn't have Abramovich there to butt heads with, give Mourinho full control to do whatever he wants with the roster and the lineup and game management, etc. Bring Jose Mourinho back. And I will be 100% fully invested in Chelsea again. Like, it is so goddamn frustrating to wake up at 5 in the morning and watch these games and just see them haphazardly piss away any bit of providence, um, especially against teams that they should beat. Like, this makes absolutely no effing sense. And Carrillo 713, what's going on? Saying Luton Town choked. I can't believe it, dude. But at least they're still out of the relegation zone. I would love to see what Luton Town could do next season. Maybe get another player in there or two. I don't want to see them go down. Burnley, Sheffield United, I'm not that worried about. Everton, I don't want to see them go down either. But as I talked about, they're going to take another points hit at some point during the season. Maybe next year. We don't know yet. Same with Nottingham Forest. So I don't know, man. 214 says, I hope Mbappe comes to Real Madrid for real this time. I don't, but he needs to. Yeah, Real Madrid needs some star power again. So does Barcelona, for God's sake. Anyway, Hall of Fame. Somehow we didn't talk about this, and this is my fault for when this whole thing went on. But I think a lot of it just had to do with the fact that NFL playoffs were definitely more at the forefront, along with college football. So it kind of got washed from my head. But something came up the other day, and it has to do with the hat that I'm wearing. Albert Bell, going on the Chris Rowe show. Basically have the same stats. And so I want to kind of get back. I want to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about like all 4 guys who are going to be, going to Cooperstown this summer. I think it's great. Adrian Beltre, Todd Hilton, Jim Leland, Joe Mauer, Awesome. But first off, I want to show you guys the vote in case you guys haven't seen it. Oh Lord. So from the Baseball Writers Association of America, you need at least 75% of the vote to get in. Maurer, of course, was the roundabout there, 76.1, Todd Helton, 79.7, Adrian Beltre, sorry, 95.1. Beltre getting so much of a percentage doesn't surprise me. The man's got over 3,000 hits, multiple gold gloves. Um, the dude was just a phenomenal third baseman and played 21 years in the league. Good for him. Todd Helton I always felt was like Larry Walker, but Rear there, so that's good. Flashfire says he was borderline 75% from the public who received ballots. Interesting. And then Joe Mauer, of course, squeaking in on his first ballot. I'm actually kind of surprised. I would have figured it would take like a couple ballots for him to get in, but everybody likes Joe Mauer, so I'm not really surprised by this. Billy Wagner getting kind of stifled in this was a bit surprising. 73.8% of the vote, mind blowing. I would have figured he was going to get in this year. I know that Mariano Rivera, from a closer perspective, is kind of is like the top dog, but the fact that every other closer before him, your Trevor Hoffman, your Billy Wagner's, Bill Lee, no, not Bill Lee, dude pal from the Cubs. Damn it, I'm spacing on his name right now. Old Cubs, because he was a 3 inning guy for a closer. Lee Smith, thank you. I knew the Lee was in there correctly. Thank you, Flashfire. Lee Smith getting in for the Cubs because he was a 3 inning closer. It wasn't like, oh, you're going out there to get 3 outs like closers in the modern era. Yeah, Lee Smith should have gotten in like much earlier than he did. But a lot of other guys on the list, like A-Rod's probably not going to get in because of the whole PED thing. Chase Utley, I would have figured we would have a few more votes. Same with Omar Vizquel. Jimmy Rollins, I think, should be much higher on the percentage than he's given credit for at 14.8. And Andy Pettit is a bit of a surprise. But granted, Andy Pettit had the whole human growth hormone fiasco during his time when he was in Houston. Yeah, Bartolo Colon getting 5 votes. What the fuck is that? Like, dude is hands down one of the most beloved players in MLB history and gets shafted by the writers. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but I would have figured he gotten more votes out of it. Andrew Jones, he might get in at some point, but I feel like it's going to take a lot of convincing on that. And Carlos Beltran being a bit of a surprise at 57%. So I don't know. But Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, Andy Pettit all have the legacy of PEDs hanging over their head. But so did David Ortiz, and he got in, quite easily. But this goes back to something I said a long time ago, and especially when I was talking about Jim Rice. Steven Seabright had brought up, my time during the fan cave, and I interviewed Jim Rice and actually asked him about that. And his feelings of the Baseball Writers Association, like voting players in, because Jim Rice was a lock for a Hall of Famer, but the BBWAA voted him in on his final year of eligibility. And a lot of it had to do with his um, personal issues with a lot of the writers on the East Coast. He was very anti talking to sports journalists, whatever, except for just, common quotes about games. He never really, he was a team player is really what I come down to. And it's like he really didn't want to talk to the media that much. And then you look at the 3 guys who got in the Hall of Fame this year, including Jim Leland, that would be the 4th, but as a manager, all 3 of those guys were beloved by the media. Wagner, kind of on the cusp of that. I feel like he's going to get in next year. Sheffield, I'm curious to see what's going to go on with him. More than likely, if he doesn't get the writers' vote, he's going to get in with the legends vote. No problem there. But a lot of other guys on this list were, not that savvy with media, etc. And that brings up the point about Albert Bell, because Albert Bell was a hothead on the field. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean, that dude went out there and he wanted to fucking win every game, but he was very standoffish with the media up until the point in time he retired. Then he, opened up a bit more. Anyway. But Chaparral says, I have to not be the only one who thinks Billy Wagner played in the 20s with that name. I know, right? Flashfire says Chef is no longer eligible, as people had to remind Marcos Brenton. Oh, yeah, it was his 10th year, so his only path now is the other one. And Sheffield's going to get in with the Legends vote. Like, no problem there. but it is bogus that he got snuffed out the way that he did, because I feel like Sheffield is a Hall of Famer. Logan Herrera says, one of my biggest gripes when it comes to the voters are the ones who don't even vote for a player and submit a blank ballot. Feel like their voting privileges should be revoked. Yes, 100 fucking percent. Um, this also goes into, you have 10 votes to give on your ballot. Like, use all 10. I don't understand. Like, I know it's the Hall of Fame and it's this big thing, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's for the fans, it's for the players. It's not for some fucking writer to get on his high horse and give some fucking soapbox speech about like the sanctity of the game, etc. I know I'm doing the kind of the same thing right now, but it's like, if I had a vote, I'm going to use all 10 goddamn votes every chance that I get, because I want to see the Hall of Fame packed with, you know, like as many players as we can possibly get in there. I'm not saying every player deserves to get in, but there are some dudes where it's like, you look at their resume, and the biggest one that I was like on everybody's ass about, and thank God he finally fucking got in. The only unfortunate part for him is he player. One was the St. Louis Cardinals, and the other was the Milwaukee Brewers. And this is Milwaukee Brewers back in the 1980s, when they were still part of the American League. And the unfortunate part for him was he never won any Gold Gloves, because Johnny Bench won them all for the Cincinnati Reds, and then he goes to the American League with the Milwaukee Brewers, and Carlton Fisk with the Chicago White Sox won all the other years. So what does Ted Simmons have to do to get into the Hall of Fame? Oh, he only had the most fucking hits as a catcher in MLB history for a very long period of time, until Ivan Rodriguez came along and broke that record, and then he's a fucking Hall of Famer. Um, and it's just like, how does this man get no fucking love? Multiple World Series championships, even went to the World Series the one time with the Milwaukee Brewers back in 1982, and the man can't get any love. Like, thankfully, the Legends Committee like got him in, but oh my god, that was like one of the biggest things that I was just like emotional, impressed about, and I'm still emotional about it. The fact that he finally fucking got in, thank God. But in the case of Ted Simmons, this is where Joe Mauer comes into play. So I'm gonna go through these really quickly. Hold on. Chaparral says they're both not great system, but it's better than Cooperstown. Oh, you're talking about the Hockey Hall of Fame. Oh yeah, dude, that's a fucking joke. Um, Absolute joke. Oh, and then going back to Steven Seavright's comment about, was I in the fan cave when Joe Mauer was there? A thing with him, because it was when he was he was there, his agent was there. To which case, Joe Mauer and Peyton Manning actually have the same agent, and I'll keep this story quick. Their agent was like in this like multi-thousand-dollar suit, really great polished dude, but his shoes, like they were wingtips, don't get me wrong, like really. And I remember seeing that, and I check out his shoes, and it's just like, that really was a testament to, that man got his feet on the ground and worked for his fucking clients. And I can't remember the guy's name, but hands down, yes, always working late, 100%. That dude busted his ass for his clients, and I respect the hell out of that. But yeah, I had to get like, they didn't washing my hair and did this whole like Head and Shoulders thing. So yeah, I met Joe Mauer. Yeah, I was there when that happened. So always be closing. Shout out, shout out to Glengarry Glenn Ross and Alec Baldwin for that one. So oh, you're working late. Oh, my bad. But no, hey, he was working late too. He was working all hours of the day. But anyway, moving on to this real quick. So yeah, Adrian Beltre, 4-time All-Star, 5 Gold Gloves, 4-time Silver Slugger, 2-time Platinum Glove. That's a big deal. 93.5 WAR. I don't really like sabermetrics that much, so I kind of tend to ignore that as much as possible. But hey, 3,166 hits, 477 RB or home runs, 286 average. Dude was a fucking lock for the Hall of Fame. So shout out to Albert Bell or Adrian Beltre. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Biggest years, of course, 199 hits from 2013 with the Rangers, 49 doubles with his 1 year with the Boston Red Sox. 48 home runs was the high point for him in his career with his last year with the LA Dodgers. The strange part with Adrian Beltre is his time with the Seattle Mariners. It still doesn't feel like it happened, but I know it did. It's just too bad the Mariners weren't a better team for him. Chaparral says Adrian Beltre has to be one of the best careers in terms of the amount of teams played for. Yes, 100%. 100%. And it's still a trip to me that he played for as many teams as he did. But he was very memorable at every single one of them, with the exception of the Mariners, I would say. But like I said, it has more to do with the rest of the team not being that great, with the exception of him and Ichiro Suzuki. So, yeah, there is Platinum Glove. Oh, yeah, that is definitely a thing. Todd Helton, I got to bring up because I had this as a trivia question a number of months ago. Before becoming a Hall of Fame baseball player, Todd Helton was the starting quarterback for the University of Tennessee Volunteers football team. Then he got hurt, basically a career-ending knee injury from at least playing football. And in that same season, it ushered in Peyton Manning, freshman starting quarterback for the Tennessee Volunteers. So shout out to Todd Helton for that one. But yeah, decided to take the career path into baseball, which was a smart move. 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove, 4-time Silver Slugger, and a batting title. Um, mostly a mediocre career for 17 years. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't play long enough to get to the 3,000 club, but 2,519 hits, not too shabby. The bigger issue with that was, 2012, 13, and of course the 2008 season. He had to stop playing due to injury for those seasons. And so that's ultimately why he retired. But, the 372 batting average for the batting title in 2000, solid. Over 200 hits 2 times in his career. I think the bigger thing with him, and I say I'm not belittling his career or anything like that, but the fact that the Colorado Rockies don't exactly have a lot of players in the Hall of Fame because they're still a newer team. Southside Steve is saying way less hits than Stan Ross. I love that. You got to get some players in there. You got to pack the house with a few more guys. And Todd Helton as Mr. Rocky, essentially. I mean, played the longest stretch of anybody in their career for the Colorado Rockies. Got in because Larry Cardinals, but Todd Helton will always, in my opinion, and I think it's more factual really than anything. But Joe Mauer, going back to what I was saying about Ted Simmons and the hit. Solid resume. MVP year, 3 batting titles, 6-time All-Star. Just all around, just a super nice guy. Everybody loved him. Only played for 15 years, to which case 2011 was the only year that he, kind of went down due to injury. But yeah, 347 in 2006, 328 in 2008, 365 batting average in 2009, 2,123 hits, which for a catcher, phenomenal. Yeah, he played the last couple years as a first baseman. Big effing deal. Chaparral says, shout out to Rockies legend Jeff Francis, pride of North Delta, BC. Yes. Yes. Chaparral also says, also saw Joe Mauer's last home run live, 9/11/2018 versus the Yankees. Interesting that it was on 9/11. Which reminds me of the first White Sox game I ever went to. It was Twins White Sox back in 2012, and I saw Jamie Carroll hit his final home run of his career. The man only hit like 30. I saw his very last one as a member of the Twins. Very memorable moment. Just because I mostly remember Jamie Carroll for his years with the Expos. But anyway, and the Dodgers, of course. But anyway, Jim Leland, smoking Jim Leland, of course, getting into the Hall of Fame as a manager, beloved by everybody, fans, players, higher ups, media alike. The man always gives a good quote. Almost beat the shit out of Barry Bonds during both their time in Pittsburgh. Memorable moment for that. Won the World Series with the 1997 Florida Marlins. Had 2 other opportunities with the Detroit Tigers and fell short. I mean, he got smoked in the 2012 World Series by the San Francisco Giants. Whoops. But anyway, the one stat on his resume that still throws me off. So it's not the three-time manager of the year. It's not the three pennants. So that's of course NL and AL. One World Series, which I mentioned in 1997. It's the two ties that, and I did a little bit of research to which both ties came during the 1989 season as he was a manager of the Pirates. I think the first one, oh god, it was first one was against the Phillies, second one was against the Cardinals. And the Cardinals one is more specific because that is the last time. This goes back to when there was a rain out or whatever during a game played. Um, Usually they would just halt the game, postpone it, make it up the next day, especially if it was the game, whatever. And in both those were 5 innings. But I would say because when teams up at the end of the season, or they'll play a doubleheader or something like that. The case of this one, because it was so late in the season, the Pirates were out of the playoff picture. They just decided, screw it, we're just going to take a tie, and now it's that's what happened. Whereas now you're going to get makeup games, etc. So yeah, that's it. Jim Leland's record: 3,499 games, 1,769 wins, 1,728 losses, and two goddamn ties, both of which happened in 1989. So fascinating stuff right there. But yeah, moving on into the Albert Bell, Mike Trout discussion. So, as I mentioned before, Albert Bell went on Chris Rose's show, talked about how the two of them basically have, the same stat lines, whatever. Yet, everybody talks about Mike Trout being a lock for the Hall of Fame, whereas Albert Bell, of course, was not. Dude, baseball's the best. I fucking hate baseball some days, but it's still the best at the end of the day. But yeah, Albert Bell, five-time All-Star, five-time Silver Slugger, Major League or ML Player of the Year. I think that was an AP thing, if I'm not mistaken. But going into it, I'll go through the stats and stuff like that. Only played for 12 years, 1989 through 2000. Um, Hits wise, 1,726. Nothing really to sniff at there. Had 50 home runs during the 1995 season, to which case, I don't know if you guys remember this. During the 1995 season, there was the incident where umpires thought he hit a home run with a corked bat. So they took the bat down to the umpire room. And then his teammate, Jason Grimsley, went through the air system, like the air duct season, and basically like John McClane his way into the umpire room to steal the bat back for Albert. And yeah, that was it. It was awesome. Do we count Fernando Vina hit? Ooh, I love Fernando Vina. Love Fernando Vina. But anyway, um, so yeah, 381 home runs for his career. Not tremendously stellar numbers. I mean, for a guy who played for 12 years, like the numbers are actually kind of solid, like not gonna lie. Career average 295. Okay, sure. If it was over 300, I'd say, yeah, maybe. Three RBI titles in 93, 95, and 96. And solid slugging percentage, solid OPS altogether. Three times he finished in the top three for MVP. That of course is 94, 95, and 96, to which case I want to get to those. Here's the first one. So going with 94. So of course this was the strike year. They still held awards and stuff at the end of the season, etc. To which case Albert Bell finished third this year. Um, Third place in home runs, tied for RBI or tied for second in RBI with 101 because Kirby Puckett had the most with 112. But Albert Bell, 357 average. But 359 was the top for the American League with by Paul O'Neill. If you look at the WAR number, which of course I don't want to go too deep into WAR just because the fact that nobody was giving a shit about WAR until like the last decade. Um, to which case, Kenny Lofton probably should have won the MVP that year. So let's be real about that. 60 stolen bases for Kenny Lofton, 160 hits, which of course was the most in the majors, and a 349 average. 7.2 WAR. Nobody even fucking sniffed that. And Kenny Lofton finished fourth. What the hell? But anyway, the ones that I really want to get into were the second and third year. This one's 95. As you can see, Mo Vaughn won the MVP that year. Albert Bell had much better numbers than Mo Vaughn, played 3 more games, had 121 runs compared to Mo Vaughn's 98. Albert Bell had 173 hits compared to Mo Vaughn's 165. Albert Bell had 50 home runs compared to Mo Vaughn's 39. Both had 126 RBI. Albert Bell hit 317 where Mo Vaughn hit 300. And then Edgar Martinez finished in third place and he had 356 that year. Um, to which case, this is where I was talking about where if you're not a friend of the media, you are not going to get votes. And the fact that Mo Vaughn was so beloved in Boston by the Boston media, and Albert Bell was so revered by anybody in the media because of the fact that he just wouldn't talk to media after the game. Let's just like the man was focused on his work. So what? And he got penalized for it. Like he should have won the MVP that year. Like there's no doubt looking at the numbers and the fact that he had a 7 WAR tied with Edgar Martinez. So you could easily say those two should have finished 1 and 2, not 2 and 3 behind Mo Vaughn. Randy Johnson had an 8.6, but that's a whole different story unto itself of voting for a pitcher for MVP when they already get another award, and that's the Cy Young. So Albert Bell got boned there. Then you go into the next year. Albert Bell once again finishes in third place. Juan Gonzalez wins the MVP that year, which makes absolutely no goddamn sense, considering the fact that Juan Gonzalez only played 134 games, whereas Albert Bell played 158. A-Rod actually finished second, and him and Ken Griffey Jr. should have done it, won it, whatever. But because they were teammates, they kind of cross cancel each other out. Like the voting for this stuff makes zero fucking sense. And I mean, honestly, Juan Gonzalez winning this award when he did was like legitimately just a pity vote. Like the Rangers that particular year were a powerhouse. Like I don't deny that. And Juan Gonzalez was the shining star of that team. But the Rangers didn't win a goddamn World Series that year. They got smoked in like the first round of the playoffs to begin with. And the fact that the 2 spot, the 3 spot, and the 4 spot, hell, even Mo Vaughn that year, finishing in the 6th spot, had, or 5 spot, sorry, had better numbers than Juan Gonzalez. I mean, just really goes to show where favoritism goes with like all these goddamn writers. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever and drives me crazy. Yeah, Juan Gonzalez had 47 home runs, which was better than A-Rod, but not better than Albert Bell. Albert Bell had the most RBI in the American League that year at 148, which compared to Juan Gonzalez's 144. Big effing deal. Ugh. Unreal, man. So anyway, there's that. So, you look at those numbers. That's what Albert Bell put up. Never won an MVP, despite the fact that he probably should have won at least one. So we go to Mike Trout now. 3-time MVP, Rookie of the Year, 9-time Silver Slugger, 11-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star MVP. So I give mad respect for that. Major League Player of the Year. That, of course, was the AP thing. But yeah, Albert Bell has a lot of good points to make out of this. So, hits wise, 1,624, so a few more than Albert Bell. Home run wise, they're about the same level as it is. Runs, they scored about the same. Batting average, 6 points on Albert Bell because Mike Trout's hitting 301. OBP, slugging percentage, OPS, yeah, a bit higher than Albert Bell. Like I will give Mike Trout the full credit on that. But at the end of the day, it's like it's the damn it, I forgot to bring it up. The 3 MVPs that Mike Trout won during his career are what put him in a higher echelon than Albert Bell. Mike Trout is also, with the media, great with the fans, does a lot of advertising, etc. Probably could have had 4 MVPs, but the one that he lost in 2012 made sense because Miguel Cabrera won it that year because he got the first Triple Crown since like 1968. So there was no way Mike Trout was going to win that over a guy with the Triple Crown. But anyway, at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, just because there's more favoritism for Mike Trout from, media, fans, accolades, etc. But the fact that the two are basically pulling the exact same numbers, not to mention, I think Gold Glove wise, hold on one sec. Let me double check this again real quick. Mike Trout, Gold Glove, 0. Albert Bell, Gold Glove. Okay, also 0. So never mind. I thought I had a gotcha moment there, but anyway, I did not. So yeah, I feel like Albert Bell got boned. At the end of the day, he got boned for a 12-year career, and that's what Mike Trout is at. And then the amount of injuries that Mike Trout has, like if his career were to end due to injuries right now, and they're putting up essentially the same stat lines, like why is Albert Bell not in the Hall of Fame? So Albert made some really good points on the Chris Rowe show. So just really wanted to clarify that. And I'm not hating on Mike Trout. I think he's a hell of a fucking baseball player. But favoritism, man. Favoritism between the BBWAA and players. Like it's a real thing. So anyway, Super Bowl this Sunday. Media going on, of course, this week. Blah blah blah. Yakety yak. Um, Here's the way I see this shaking out. I feel like the San Francisco 49ers, top to bottom, are the better team. And, defense for sure. Offense, quite possibly. And I'm not saying it's because of Brock Purdy, but they definitely have the better running back in Christian McCaffrey, who's also a solid receiving running back. Um, they got Debo Samuel, who's a great run and pass option. Brandon Ayuk, Jennings, George Kittle. I mean, hell of a tight end. But he's no Travis Kelce. Like I we can all agree with that. So, um, I just feel like the Niners have the edge in this, and I know Patrick Mahomes was even saying like top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams. The special teams for the Niners isn't like stellar. It's not even like great, but I truly feel like this is the time for Kyle Shanahan to not call bullshit plays when they've got a lead, because I feel like the Niners will actually lead this game at halftime. And I hope to God that Shanahan does not pull the same shit that he did against the Chiefs a couple years ago. What was that, 2019 season? Going into 2020, where you run this run heavy attack in the first half, and then for whatever reason you have Jimmy Garoppolo just air it out in the second half, which of course stops the clock when receivers cannot catch the ball, et cetera, et cetera. So Niners, for the love of God, win this fucking game. And it's a 2-point spread, which I think is fair. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not like one, but I feel like the Niners control their own destiny. I don't feel like the Chiefs are the refs may pull some stupid calls, whatever, in favoritism. Like Mahomes is going to get knocked on his ass several times. There's going to be flags for roughing the passer, whatever. We all know that's going to happen. But as long as the linebackers can contain Kelsey, which I genuinely feel like Fred Warner can absolutely do. So hopefully he stays healthy throughout the entire game. Um, the Niners have a better secondary. So if the case, Mahomes needs to air it out, I feel like Ward and company can control that. I think from the run game perspective, the Chiefs defensive line is not that strong. McCaffrey should be able to get, a solid 75 yards on the ground, like throughout the entire game, if not more. He's probably going to have at least 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game, which I hope to God he does. I also feel like Debo Samuel has the option of, getting a touchdown because of his, playmaking ability from just the run, and especially the run after catch. So I'm feeling Niners. I'm feeling Niners by at least 2 touchdowns. And I know the only reason why this wouldn't happen is because the refs will get into it a bit more. Vegas wants to see a much closer game, keep the money line, a little bit closer. But I still feel like the Niners have the capability of winning this game by 2 or more touchdowns. Which I feel like this is a great segue into how are my picks doing over the last month? Fucking terrible. Thank God my lock of the week this last week came through. Shout out to the Arizona Wildcats for beating the absolute piss out of the California Golden Bears. I got one. The Celtics Lakers. What the fuck was that? LeBron James and Anthony Davis were not playing that game. That's why they were favored 1,400. And the Lakers won that fucking game. What in God's name was that? And then, of course, Wolverhampton putting the smackdown on Chelsea. And then the game I was at, I picked the goddamn Bucks, who blew a 17-point lead to the Jazz to ultimately lose by 14. 31-point swing, ladies and gentlemen. And Southside Steven Seabright on my fucking ass. I mean, not so much in the chat, but I mean, he's texting me because I know he follows it every time I make a pick. Like, he is on my ass, and I love you for that. Oh my god, 1 in 12 for me in the last 3 weeks. This is pitiful. So, we're in February now. Thank God. January has come to a close. I got to start making some good picks. So, I got 49ers over the Chiefs, not only minus the covering the spread, but getting the money line as well. So it's like, yeah, I'm saying they're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. Pacers versus the Rockets is going on right now. Hold on one sec. I'm going to check that score right now. I know I shouldn't bet on my teams, but I am. Oh my God. The Rockets are up 75-68 at halftime. Fuck. It's all right. A lot of game left. We got a whole second half left. Liverpool versus Burnley this week. Liverpool should beat the piss out of Burnley. I think we all agree on that. I was actually debating on going with the Chelsea Aston Villa FA Cup game tomorrow, but you know what? I'm not, because I feel like that would 100% be a kiss of death. And then Saturday, Edmonton Oilers versus the Kings. The last time I picked the Oilers over the Kings, I was successful, so that's why I'm rolling with them again. So, Pacers, for the love of God, please put on a second half fucking dominance against the Rockets. For the love of God, please. Yeah, FA Cup is always wonky. I agree with that, Chaparral. That's exactly why I did not pick anything from the FA Cup, and I never typically will, because momentum, dude, it's 100% where it's at. And I would say, honestly, after Aston Villa beat the piss out of, who was that, Crystal Palace or whatever, by 5-0, or no, Sheffield United. Like, there's no way to hell I'm picking Chelsea to pull an upset on Aston Villa. It might happen, but I'm not going to put money on it. So yeah, that's my picks. Oh my God. Chaparral says also, yeah, Oilers is contingent on whether they continue their play from before the All-Star break. Yes, and that's what I'm banking on right now. I feel like the Oilers over the Kings is always kind of consistent. Yes, and so I feel like that was a smart pick. Much in the same sense of me taking Arizona versus Cal as my lock of the week last week. I feel like that was a smart pick. So Pacers, for love of God, please do me a solid here. So anyway, that does it for me. We hit about the hour mark, went a little bit over. I'm stuttering now, which is bad. Maybe I need some water. Hold on one sec. As always, absolute pleasure to do this with you guys, talking shit about sports and just having a good time overall, man. So, recap tomorrow. I got to go pick up the hats right now. They're actually waiting for me at FedEx, so that's dope. Don't have to stress about it on Wednesday like I did last week, where they didn't show up until like 2 hours before the show, and that was a fiasco. But it wasn't because of us; it was because of FedEx. But anyway, so yeah, gotta go pick up the hats right now. Probably should eat a whole meal of food, maybe. And then Thursday, because we didn't do Flip the Script today, Austin and I will be back on Thursday to Flip the Script, and he should be back in Baltimore because he's in Arizona right now, meeting with the owners, doing all sorts of meetings and stuff like that. So that's kind of why we pushed the show for Benchwarmers into today. But that one also had to do with the fact that I got back home from Utah at 8 o'clock in the morning and just had meetings like boom, boom, boom. And I was exhausted. So the fact that, we're doing Flip the Script on Thursday freed up. Like, I'm just going to take a nap for, the second half of the day. Plus, it was my birthday and I deserve a little time to rest. But anyway, yeah, catch you guys tomorrow for recap. He is filming for his pack, as a matter of fact. And if you follow him on Instagram, he's got a couple sneak previews going on there. So saw one of them's a Lakers hat, actually. Blew my mind. But anyway, I know it has to do with the creativity behind it and the storyline and stuff like that. So good on him. I can't wait to see the full clip. But guys, see you tomorrow. As always, take it easy, and if you don't, take it sleazy. And I think we got a good recap for you tomorrow. But anyway, Guys, take care. Peace.